we mentioned this earlier, but the availability of clinical trials is huge. This is really your opportunity to get the best care right now that hasn't even been approved by the FDA. This is stuff that may take another 10 years to get approved by the FDA. So when you have the opportunity to take part in a clinical trial, a number of benefits. The benefits include that most of the treatment's free because it is experimental treatment that is not on the market yet. So the drug companies provide it to the patient with no cost. So I'm a huge advocate for clinical trials. I know so many people that are alive because of clinical trials. In fact, my best friend was recently put on a clinical trial. So it's something I advocate for completely. And again, those NCI hospitals are going to be really involved in the clinical trial world. Genomic testing. This is critical from a precision medicine perspective. So people say cure cancer. That will never happen. Cancer is not one disease. Breast cancer is not one disease. There's at least 16 different types of breast cancer. And within those breast cancers is every person has a specific genetic mutation that makes their cancer occur. So basically cancer comes from your own cells. It is not going to be responding to the same way that somebody else's cancer was, even if it's the identical pathology. So genomic testing are things like the FoundationOne test and KRAS testing. Another test called the Guardant test is looking for, it's a liquid biopsy looking at blood and free genetic material in the blood. These mutations can actually say, hey, there's 20 different clinical trials that you qualify for that may actually be the Achilles heel to your cancer. So there's standard therapy that may work well with precision medicine, but in many cases, there's about 40% of breast cancer patients, for example, that have actionable mutations, that will actually, there's medicines available to treat them. So it is imperative to get that testing right away to make sure that you're on the right path and not just getting what everybody else gets, because this can really mean the likelihood that your cancer can go into remission or that you can experience a lot of progression early on. So important. Malleable bioethics. This sounds a little bit shady, I realize, but there's a lot of situations where your doctor can kind of bend the rules a little bit and get you the best care, even if it isn't approved by the FDA yet. For example, my oncologist got back from the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium in San Antonio, obviously, and found out that Faslodex and Ibrance, which had not been approved by the FDA, had a better efficacy rate than the other alternative, which was letrozole and Ibrance. Well, it wasn't yet approved, so instead of making me wait until it was approved, he said, I'm going to go ahead and prescribe you letrozole, and then we're just going to put it under the table, basically. We're not going to take the letrozole. We're going to be taking the Faslodex and the Ibrance. So I was getting the best care available right then and there without having to wait until it got approved by the FDA, which was not until about a year later. I experienced a complete response to therapy, and I have continued that response for 32 months. And it is, I believe, because my oncologist was willing to bend the rules a little bit so I could get the best care without having to wait for the FDA, that they can really drag their feet for a long time, which you guys probably know. Last thing is hopeful realism. You don't want to walk into an oncologist office who's going to tell you, yeah, you can cure stage 4 cancer. We're going to get you cancer free. That's absurd. You also don't want to walk into an oncologist who's going to say, you got 6 months to live. You better get your affairs in order. And I've seen both ends of the spectrum. So we want to hear things like, even if it is an advanced cancer, we can manage this. There's lots of new drugs coming out. I want to hear about the reasons that I have to be hopeful. And there are a lot of oncologists out there who have those reasons and have the science and the experience behind it to really make you comfortable in your situation. So we don't want a doom and gloom kind of response. We don't want sunshine up our butts either, but you want somebody that's kind of in the middle who is willing to work for you and advocate for you.